Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Cynthia and today we're creating from start to finish a little gratitude. I guess it would be an insert. I'm going to use it as a journal, but since I'm not making a hardcover for it, well, it could be considered an insert. So this is part of my design team project. I wanted to create something different this month, and I've been thinking about doing a gratitude journal, so that was kind of my inspiration for it. So I selected some papers that are digital prints from Cassie from Dust to Roses, and this here is going to be my cover or title page to the insert. It's two printables from French letters that are just glued together. So I've already glued those two back to back, but I wanted to use that as kind of the front. And then I wanted to do a little bit of a collage onto them with some bits and pieces that I really like. There's a little journaling card and a printout that I've printed quite small of a music sheet. So the first step that I want to do is use these pages that I've selected. I did a little bit of a pre-selection and made sure that I liked everything, and I pre-cut the pages so that they would all fit into the cover pages. So that's why you see the little bits beside, and I'm going to use those bits to collage on the back of them. But what I want to use is pages from a book that I've gutted to create a journal with. So I've been thinking a lot about how to use those books that I'm gutting, and I thought this was a really good way to use up some book pages and make them into something more beautiful, I guess. So my idea is to cut up or rip all those pages and then collage them onto the back of the printables. And that's what you see me do here. I did film the process of the first page that I did, and then so that you could get a good idea of how I like to collage, and a little bit of my thought process behind how I pick the pieces that I pick, and how I create those little collages. But I'll do the rest of the pages off camera. So I'm just using another book page to ease my gluing. What I'll do is put some liquid glue around the edges and a little bit in the middle, and I'm spreading the liquid glue with my glue stick. I quite like doing that. It allows the liquid glue to be spread a little bit more, and it also ends up leaving some liquid glue onto my glue stick, so when I go to use my glue stick, it's a little bit stickier. I really dislike this glue stick, but that's all I had left at home. So I'm gonna use it up for now and hope that not everything comes back apart, but it's just not a very gluey glue stick. So here I'm just spreading that glue, and it's messy and I get glue all over my fingers. But are you really a crafty person if you're not completely gluing your fingers? So now I'm just starting to collage the book pages together, and I'll let you watch this process. So I'm just going back to the little bits that may not be quite as glued down, and I'm adding some glue to make sure that they don't lift up. And at the very end I did add some bits and pieces from what I had cut from the digitals onto each of the pages, which you'll see in just a moment. But I'm just using a little tool to press everything down and moving to the next page and just applying my glue. So this is the results of all of my pages that I've collaged onto the back to create something just a little bit more interesting. Essentially my idea is that I'm most likely just gonna glue onto those card, like a journaling card, to write down what I'm grateful for that day. So that's why I wanted to have simple backgrounds so that I don't have to really spend time creating. Rather, this mini journal is really more for writing down my thoughts. So I'm just cutting the excess of those pages that I've glued down and making sure that everything is a little bit more neat. And then I'm going to be folding everything back. I'm just doing that very carefully since there's a lot of pieces. I don't want to just run my tool on the pages and risk ripping some of them back up. So I just fold them all. Now what I want to do is ink up the pages. So I'll be inking the edges of all the pages, and on the sides that I've collaged the book pages, I just lightly brush the brush that I use to ink, just to add some definition between each collaged page. I mean, there's no science to inking, and I don't have the right tools to do it, but it works for me. So I've just sped up that process and skipped a little bit of it since, of course, you know, there's no magic trick here. So now I'm just assembling back the pages together, and I'm going to be ready to move into working on my cover and doing that little bit of a collage onto it. But you just get a bit of a preview of those pages and what they'll look like together. So as I've mentioned, I wanted to add that journaling card as well as that little printout of a music book cover. And I also really love this piece of fabric, and I wanted to use just a little bit of it, and I'm kind of playing around trying to see what will work, how I want to assemble these pieces together, and what reflects my my first thoughts, I guess, my my idea for this mini journal, and I settled with cutting a piece of the fabric to put at the spine area, just to reinforce that a little bit, I guess, and I just thought it looked pretty there. And I'm just gonna be gluing those again using the same method. I use a little bit of the liquid glue, and then I kind of spread it with my glue stick, and I'm inking up those pieces a little bit just so they stand out more, but I did end up wanting to rip part of that journaling card just to give it a little bit of a rougher edge rather than just a clean cut, and so I'll ink it back up again. I've never really tried gratitude journaling, so I really wanted to give it a go and see how it makes me feel, and if it improves not my happiness, but I get my gratefulness, I guess. I have definitely struggled with negativity in the past and still to this day, so I thought, well, why not try it out? And it's a little bit scary, I guess, because it doesn't come naturally to me, but who knows, maybe it's gonna be something really positive for me. So, I encourage you guys to try new things and see if they work for you, because you just don't know unless you try. So here I'm just doing the same thing with that piece and gluing it down. As I was pressing it down, a little bit of glue came out of the one corner, so I'm just trying to not spread it, so I'm being careful here. And to glue down the piece of fabric, I only use the liquid glue, and I spread it with my finger. And that's because I really don't want the glue to seep through the fabric, and it's not a very thick fabric. So if you put too much glue, it'll kind of seep through, and I mean, it's not the end of the world, of course, but it does make the fabric look a little bit darker in the areas that it'll seep through. So I'm just trying to be careful here and just doing the same thing to the other side. I felt like there was something missing for the cover, and I tried a few different things and different pieces, like this lace here, but that lace just felt like it wasn't the right shape. So I'm gonna actually let the cover sit for a bit and dry for a bit, because I didn't want to play around and put glue anywhere. So what I'm moving into is putting some ruffles into my pages. I'm not putting very much, since of course I don't have a ton of pages. I'll just put 3 ruffles, and here I'm showing you the first one. So I end up using a white one, a green one, and a teal one, just to go with the colors that I've selected for the digitals. And I'm just using my stapler to do this. As I've mentioned before, I don't have a sewing machine at the moment, so staples work fine for me. So now you can see the 3 ruffles, and I'm going back to my cover, and you can see like some of the pages get a little bit bent out of shape since we've used some glue on there, and that's normal, and you can just kind of fold them back into how you would like them to be. So I've let that dry a little bit longer, and you can see the sun has moved into my window quite a bit, so hopefully that doesn't bug you guys too much. But here I'm still trying to figure out what I'll do for the front. It just feels like something's missing, and I thought maybe this trim could be pretty, but it didn't quite flow with the rest of the journal. And sometimes I get pieces that I have a specific idea in mind for them, and that piece is one of those that I just imagine it with in a journal for kids. So I don't know. So here I'm just bending those pages back a little bit so that they're not flipping out as much. If this is something that bothers you, you could always leave it overnight with something heavy on top, and it would just flatten those pages quite well. And I'm still looking and trying to figure out what to do in that little bottom corner. It just feels like something's missing. And like I've just said, this piece of fabric, it just felt like it wasn't the right shape. So what I end up using is an embossed paper. I have a few to choose from, but this one had some roses and I thought it was just so beautiful. So I add this onto here, and I just use a little bit of liquid glue and spread that with my finger and just press it down onto the journal. Now I'm just writing daily, or well, what would that be? I mean, like it would be like daily gratefulness, I guess. Yeah, so reconnaissance quotidienne, so what I'm thankful for daily. And this would be a great thing to do if you are interested in doing your daily gratitude. I guess that would be it. Daily gratitude. If you're interested in doing this around Thanksgiving time, you know, that's one of those quick little projects that you can do to use for your daily gratefulness. So now I'm just moving into just securing my pages together and onto that cover page, and I'm going to be binding those pages. I just use the very same method that I use for my books, and I do the 3 holes, and I just pre-made those holes before I start the actual binding. So here I'm making the holes, and I'm just using my needle to make the holes because I don't have a pokey type of tool. I should probably get one of those, but it's on the list, the endless list of things I'd love to have. So here I'm just binding through the middle, back in the top, back out through the middle, and back in through the bottom. The thread that I'm using is way too long, but I didn't want to waste any of it. so I didn't want to pre-cut it because I knew that I would probably leave myself too much to work with and then I would have to cut some. So I just left it long, and it was inconvenient, but that's okay. I'd love to know if you have tried to do a daily gratitude journal. You know, does that work for you, and what does that look like for you? I know some people really like have a regular journal and have a specific journal for gratitude, and I just wonder like how you find that affects you, and does it help you? So I'll keep you guys posted if it does. I might record a process video in this journal as well, just to show an example of how I use the collaged pages. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this works out for me. So I just cut off the excess and I'm unclipping everything, and the journal is complete. You could put this in a hardcover, or you know, you could definitely make the cover piece a little bit more sturdy. I just didn't feel the need for myself, as I'll just be using it here and it doesn't have to be the most durable thing. But I love how the printables look in there, and just kind of all flow and make it very inspirational for me for finding ideas on what to say and what to be grateful for. So I'm just showing you guys a little bit of a close-up of the details, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you thought. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. I wish you guys a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in my next video.